A holiday Sunday matinee here in Harrison, New Jersey. We welcome you into NewYorkRedBulls.com for today's USL game between the New York Red Bulls 2 and Toronto FC 2. Alongside one of the best in the business in the MLS the reporting department, Christian Dyer. I'm Matt Harmon, and we thank you for coming in for match number 2, Christian, of what is still kind of a new and emerging concept for this Red Bulls organization overall. The Red Bulls 2 team with a 0-0 scoreless draw the first time they played against Rochester, looking for win number 1 on the season today against Toronto FC 2.
And we're seeing the benefits of this USL League almost immediately here when you look at this starting 11 for the Red Bulls. I know we're probably going to touch on it in a couple minutes, but 9 starters from the first team being loaned out specifically into this starting 11. The benefits of this are going to be reaped not just this game, not just a couple years down the road with the young talent coming in, but it's going to be reaped in a couple weeks' time when they have a very busy fixture schedule. This team's going to need depth. A match like this is going to provide sharpness for the Red Bulls, but it's also going to give them the benefit of being able to get the team up to par and kind of fully integrated in.
Well, let's talk about some of the changes from last time to this time, as several players being loaned down from the MLS roster today to the USL roster, which will give a lot of the younger players, Christian, an opportunity to get some run.
Yeah, you're looking at some impact players, but also some guys who are going to be the future of this franchise moving forward. Keep in mind, there's a first-year head coach in Jesse Marsh and a sporting director in Ali Curtis who have said that they want to have a youth movement. And, we were talking about it a few minutes ago about the number of young players or younger players who have come in after a season where you've lost a Thierry Henry, a Tim Cahill, Peggy Leandula likely is not coming back, Jamison Olave, a number of guys who were impact players last year, but were on the wrong side of 30 for the upward swing of their career. They were still impact players for this team last year, but you have to replace them. And now the team's bringing in newer guys, younger talent, and being able to have a match like this to help bleed them in is going to be important. Get everyone on the same page, get them fit, get them sharp. And some of these names, I'm looking at a Sean Davis there, is someone who Jesse Marsh told me earlier this week, keep an eye out for this guy. He could start getting minutes sooner rather than later.
And one of the guys that may be getting an important part of the roster today is Kyle Rainish, the keeper. You think one of the hardest spots probably is being the backup keeper at the big club. You get an opportunity today to come down and at least get some minutes, get some experience back on the field.
He is going to be the number 2 this year, and I think probably a lot of fans were looking and wondering why Santiago Castano was not going to be on there. He's a guy who's been a part of the under-17 national team, most recently been with the Colombian youth national team set up as well. Is certainly a good young player, but being able to see Kyle Rainish being able to get the opportunity to get some match fitness, to get some sharpness. He's the number 2 moving forward. Let's see what he's all about today.
Players and teams will start coming out for the procession in just a second. Let's take a peek also, Christian, at the Toronto FC 2 team. 3 points coming into this one. This is their third match overall. Got a very impressive 2-0 win over Montreal.
Yeah, you look at some of the names on this roster. These are going to be the future faces of the Canadian national team for years to come. Chris Manella going to be one of those guys who I think is someone who's going to step up with significance over the next 6 months to a year. He's a player to watch for Toronto in the midfield.
Toronto FC 2 coming in with a win and a loss so far on the season. Red Bulls 2 with just a draw so far to open up their inaugural campaign here in the USL. Certainly a movement if you took a look at the teams in the USL right now. A lot of teams are following this model. A lot of the MLS teams are sending teams down to the USL to get some of, as Christian said, the younger players some experience and some time. We'll take a quick pause here, go down for the national anthem. When we come back, we'll go through the starting lineups, and we'll have the opening kickoff here from Harrison, New Jersey. set and ready for some action here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon in between the Passover and Easter holidays. Christian Dyer, Matt Harmon here on NewYorkRedBulls.com. Let's take a peek at the starting lineup. You see Alex Bono will get the start at the keeper position. First round, number 6 selection overall. Back four anchored by Fabrizi at one of the two center backs. Sargent and Sharpie at the outside backs. And Nunes will be running up top with Hamilton. Manella, a guy certainly to keep an eye in the midfield as well. Jason Bent, the head coach, former player at the MLS level and in Germany and with England 3 years and as an assistant coach with Toronto at the MLS level. Lineup today for the New York Red Bulls 2. Very different than what you saw last time out against the Rhinos of Rochester. A lot of players loaned down today. Anatole Lebong will get the front-running position. Stoles again in the midfield. Obakop on one side, Sanchez on the other. Defante and Ouimet will be the two center backs, and Kyle Rainish getting the start today at the keeper position, the 31-year-old, the former fourth-round selection of Real Salt Lake in 2007. John Wallenick, the first-year head coach here with Red Bull 2. Great opportunity to see some of the young talent here for both of these teams. And Christian, as you mentioned, these will be guys for both Toronto and for New York that during the course of the MLS season you will see at probably a predominant level somewhere along the way.
And you're looking at experience on both of these teams. For Toronto FC, there's a number of players who have represented their national team at the under-17 level. Jay Chapman, for instance, being one of those exciting players who could be that next generation of stars for Toronto FC, an under-17 national team player for Canada. And then on the Red Bull side, you're looking at an experienced roster as well. Carl Ouimet, he's playing for the New York Red Bulls, plays left center back for the Canadian national team as well. He's still a young guy. He's someone who's going to be getting some minutes as well during the MLS season. So there's a lot on the line for both of these teams, for players on both sides, to make a case for the game day roster and eventually the starting 11 during what is, as we both know, a very long and grueling MLS season.
Manolo Sanchez, good pop in the picture there. There's Sean McLaws, who's down today and getting the start, the former player from Coastal Carolina. We're up and running. It'll be Toronto FC 2 in the dark uniforms today, Red Bulls 2 in the white jerseys with the red shorts.
And almost instantly, we're seeing that high press that the Red Bulls want to bring into place. We saw Anatoly Abong, Marius Oberkop in particular, both running at the center backs there, creating a turnover into their own half. So that's something we're going to begin to see. The senior team wants this possession style, but high press style, going at the players in the final third, trying to get the ball turned over. This team as well, the USL team, is going to implement a lot of that style. So it's not just about points and results here. It's very much about what these players can do to assimilate themselves into the first team structure.
Lade can't thread the through ball. It's Chapman to control for Toronto FC 2. It is interesting as you think of it, everything is dictated by the MLS team. It might not necessarily fit the personality of some of these players, but if you're part of the organization, you are going to play the style that the big club will play. Pushed off on the far side, Sanchez will let one fly, and it will continue to drift and hit the sideline for a throw-in for Toronto FC 2.
And Sanchez is going to be one of those exciting players, a draft pick who came in, did very well during preseason in Florida. He's someone who's going to be very active in the final third. I've had the opportunity to watch him in training over the past couple weeks with the first team, one of those players who's been loaned down. He's a player with a good engine on him. He certainly likes to run at defenders. He's going to be active. He's going to be pesky. But what you want to see from him is, can he begin to put the finishing touches on his game? Is he willing to take chances? Will he be opportunistic? That's what these matches are good for.
Whistle had stop play. Connor Lade, the native of Livingston, New Jersey. Little shake it up. He'll win it here. And then pushed back high by Defante with a whistle. It'll be free kick opportunity coming for Toronto FC. We're in our third minute of action. No score early on between the Red Bulls 2 and Toronto FC 2. Match number 2 of a young season for New York. There's Sharpie getting a touch at the outside back spot for Toronto FC2. Pressure by Stoles almost to create an opportunity. McLaws will go back to Rainish. I do find it interesting that Rainish will probably have to see a lot of his minutes in games like this, barring injury at the MLS level or certain situations. He'll really have to use these games to stay sharp.
And a goalkeeper's job is all about rhythm and being able to get those opportunities, being able to get those minutes, just even being able to get that understanding and command of the box. That feel is so important for a goalkeeper. And earlier this year, Jesse Marsh told me that Castano, who's one of the young guys who's come up through the academy, he was going to be one of the ones to benefit the most from this USL setup, just because it's going to give him live matches so different than what's set up in the training ground every day, where you kind of can fall into a different sort of a rhythm. But a match like this, live 90 minutes for Kyle Rainish, is going to be very important. He's the number 2. He's a heartbeat away from Luis Robles' job. So these matches are important for him.
Into space. Top of the box. Served in and up over the top of everyone, including Heffron for Red Bulls 2. It'll be a goal kick taken for Rainish. 4 minutes in to our first set of 45. Simple touch to Ouimet. Davis will track back. Obacop on the far side.
Obi Kopp is one of those players who has really impressed down in Florida during preseason. He's taken the next step from last year.
Throw far side. Stoles still looking to get involved. Sanchez over there as well. McLaws will take it. Pressure by Abong. Knocked out of danger by Bono. Long clearance is handled by Rainish. Heffron. Former All-Ivy League player from Dartmouth. Manello, the captain for Toronto FC2. Plays wide off on the far side. Chipped ahead for Uccello. And out of bounds, it'll result in a Toronto FC2 throw-in. Have you visited the new USLsoccer.com? Get the latest news and live stats. Check out the new social media hub as well at USLsoccer.com.
Certainly an exciting time for the USL. We've seen this league go through its ebbs and flows, but I think the addition of these MLS teams, the excitement we're seeing in places such as Sacramento, it's an exciting time to follow this new league.
Numbers developing here. Stoles, top of the box. It's shipped away and controlled back Manella. Lade will win it back for New York.
High line of pressure from Connor Lade.
Into space. Service in. This will be the first corner of the afternoon. Last touch by Toronto FC, and a good build-up that time for the Red Bulls too.
And perhaps more impressive there, Matt, was not just the build-up, but when Stoles loses the ball, Connor Lade is there to retrieve the ball, keep the pressure in the final third, be able to sustain that attack and win a corner kick. Those are the things you want to see implemented from the first team philosophy of a high line of pressure trickling its way on down.
Stoles will take the corner. Played back up high for Davis. Stoles, who's on, bends one into the box. Touched by Ouimet and then cleared out by Toronto FC2. Good win back for Davis. Chipped ahead, and this one is in for a goal. Anatole Abong has given the Red Bulls 2 a 1-0 advantage.
And it was a high line of pressure that again led to a turnover here. Anatole Abong getting his first goal with the USL Pro side. winning the ball here, sending a nice swerving ball into the 18. Abong is there with the outside of his foot to touch it past. Bono is unable to react there in goal. A well-taken opportunity, but I think you have to give an awful lot of credit here to Sean Davis, sending in that swerving ball right to the top of the 6-yard box. Clinical finish by Abong.
A fairly good touch as well off the service in the 8th minute. It's the Red Bulls 2 leading Toronto FC 2 by a 1-0 advantage on the goal from Anatole Abong. It's a guy that you and I had talked about. You're very high on him being an attacking player. And with finishes like that, what do they say about the game? The hardest thing to do is to find the back of the net. If you can get that niche, you'll be able to develop a really good career.
Well, I'm not the only one who's very high on Abong. I mean, there are a lot of people that think that this guy could be the next hit man for the New York Red Bulls in that final third.
Up top, Stoles with a one-touch. Looking for a handball off for Brizzi. That will not be granted. It will be a throw-in down to the corner. Stoles with a good chance to give New York a 2-0 advantage.
And Abong is one of those players that Jesse Marsh signaled out to me earlier this week when he said that he wanted to see this guy step up. He has a tremendous amount of physical ability. Even technically, he's a very strong player, but he's raw. He came in, never really had any kind of speed training, agility training coming in from the club setup that he had in Africa. But he's somebody that they feel that if he can get the mental side of the game down, has all the physical tools to be an impressive player in MLS.
Native of Cameroon, Abong's first of the USL season. The difference in this one so far as we are in the 10th minute. Stoles can't control. We'll get a whistle anyway. It'll be a throw-in for New York. Abong off on the far side. Davis. Good touch to the outside. Played ahead here for Stoles in the corner of the box. Defended by Manella. And we'll get a flag up and a whistle. Foul on Stoles will result in a free kick out for Bono. Become a fan of the USL on Facebook for exclusive league news and interactive content. Good touch ahead here and an opportunity for Toronto FC 2. Defended well. Red Bulls 2 will give the corner. Good run ahead that time for Jordan Hamilton. And Mo Babouli, number 41, who will go over and take the corner.
And Jordan Hamilton's one of those exciting young players we talked about during the pregame for the Canadian national team setup. I think he's someone who certainly has a bright future with Toronto FC. Scored a goal last summer when Tottenham Hotspur was over here on loan. He's got a certain quality to him, but again, needs some refinement to his game. A match like this is a good opportunity to prove himself against probably one of the better starting 11s he's going to face in the USL setup.
Rainish handles the head ball opportunity from Hamilton. Off on the breakout now in the 12th minute. Giveaway at midfield. Manella, who wears the captain armband for Toronto FC 2.
And this is a well-taken corner kick here to the back post. But I think you're impressed with Rainish here. The tendency oftentimes for a goalkeeper is to cheat to the near post. He knew, he read it well, and instinctually didn't even have to move for the save.
Ouimet will go forward. Obaka working with Abong at midfield. Davis, now Ouimet. Good patience shown here by New York, who leads as we enter the 13th minute. Wesley Sharpie will go back to his backline mate, Adam Bouchard. Alex Bono, on the flip side, Bono, a guy with a lot riding, and he's trying to find his mark early on. First-round pick, number 6 overall in the 2015 MLS draft. This is part of his development as well.
And arguably the best goalkeeper in college soccer last year. And it's so important when you see goalkeepers, very few of them will start off their careers automatically in the starting 11. We saw Andre Blake last year with the Philadelphia Union only getting 1 start in league play. He was the number 1 overall pick, probably one of the best goalkeepers to come out into MLS in the past 5 years. So it does take time, it does take seasoning and development.
Hamilton laid it off. No one there for Toronto FC 2. Good move ahead. Control by Sanchez. With space into the corner of the box. Right-footed chance, and it will just trickle past Obacop, who was running. And it will result in another dangerous set coming for New York.
Can we call him the Sanchez after this? I mean, that was quite a move right there, but an intelligent back post run by Obi Kopp as well. He's one of the players who has a world of talent at his feet, but the technical part, the tactical part, that understanding needs to come about. And that's the type of play that you want to see from Obi Kopp as he continues to develop. It's not just the physical component. It's not just being a skilled player, but being able to make a run like that, reading the game and understanding. That's going to be part of his development. That's going to be part of what he needs to take from this match.
Player down is Obacop. And we'll get our first booking of the match as well. Jordan Hamilton, number 22, was the player involved for Toronto FC, who had the hands outstretched saying, "What did I do?" And that's a nice way to spend your Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, if I'm Chris Duval, I don't mind that at all. Soaking up a little sunshine and watching some of his teammates play. It's a nice thing that the Red Bulls are doing here, being able to bring out some first-team players to kind of introduce themselves to the fans and be able to show some support for their teammates as well. Keep in mind, Chris Duval plays alongside a Connor Lade. He plays with a lot of these guys, Leo Stoles, Sean Davies as well. So just being able to come out here, showing that family, showing that kind of camaraderie that they've been able to build with a new head coach, with a brand new starting 11, a lot of new faces. Nice to see Duval out here supporting his teammates.
Hamilton will get the booking in the 14th minute. Obacop will come off for a second. Sanchez and Davis with a set-piece chance about 20 yards from goal. It'll be Davis into the wall. Hit here high and wide. And a goal kick chance coming. Make sure to follow the New York Red Bulls 2 on Twitter and Facebook at NYRB2. Join the conversation for this match on social media using the hashtag NYVTOR. 16th minute of action. Off the goal from Abong. New York leading Toronto FC 2 by a 1-0 advantage. Obacop back on. And this one will be deflected out. Third corner of the match coming here for New York.
And after an opening 5 minutes where Toronto kind of had the run of play, I think New York has settled in well. They're pinching in well, making it very difficult for Toronto to break out. Now it's going to be about back four discipline here. When you play this kind of setup that looks almost like a 4-3-3 in attacking mode, the back four needs to be tight. They need to be disciplined. They need to hold their line effectively. That's going to be key right here if the Red Bulls want to come out of this one with 3 points.
Hamilton giving chase. Defended well by McLaws. Laid with a touch to the outside for DeFonte. Bono will pick up in control in his own area. There's Abong with the high pressure. McLaws changing the point of attack, looking for Obacop, who finally gets his touch on the near side. Sliding tackle in by Nunez. And Obacop down for the second time of the match.
And you hate to see a challenge like that coming in. Studs up right at the ankles as well. It's just unnecessary at that point of the field from Nunez. He should know better.
Second booking of the match. This one for Marcos Nunez. Nunez coming in the 17th minute.
And Obi Kopp doing well here, just patiently waiting, and then Nunez coming in from the side. Really a challenge that wasn't necessary and didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Nasty tackle by Nunez. Towards the back post. Obi Kopp will keep it alive. Play back again, and Bono off his line to Corral. Certainly, Christian, I would agree. After the first couple of minutes, it's been all attack for New York.
It has been. It's been winning the second ball, such as Marius Obi Kopp did here to send in that cross to the back post. But it's been very effective by the Red Bulls to maintain their shape, to be cohesive. And they're moving the ball quickly from their back line into the midfield, into the final third, not giving Toronto a chance to get settled.
Nunez lets one go across. Mick Laws will give chase and let it drift off the end line for a goal kick coming for Reynish.
And a nice little bit of individual play down there from Nunez, being able to patiently take the ball wide, a step over or two, and then serve it into the 6-yard box. There was no one there for Toronto, but that's what you want to see as you're trying to get the ball here for Toronto on the counterattack, is being able to spring Nunez into those spaces where he has a little bit of time and space, and then being able to, who's going to be the secondary and the third runner there into the box. There was no one this time, but Toronto can take advantage of that in the future.
Saw a shot of John Wolyniuk, the Red Bulls 2 head coach. 9 years in the MLS with the Metro Stars and the Red Bulls. Arguably one of the more popular players in team history.
Yeah, he's a guy out of Fordham, was a draft pick of this team back in 1998, I believe. He has been with the team for a number of years. Actually, I believe 3 different stints, a couple of them with the Metro Stars. He always just kind of hung around, and he always did enough to maintain his spot on the roster. He has that everyman appeal, if you will. He was a hard-working guy. He was a likable guy. The local kid who actually went up to go get called up by the national team a couple times and make a couple appearances. And it's great for this team and for these young players to have someone in Wolyniuk who maybe wasn't the most gifted of players during his MLS career, but who worked hard and did things the right way. He was a model citizen, a model player, and to be able to learn from someone like that and his manner, I think is going to be a positive for these players.
21st minute, Sharpie pushes up from the right back spot. Defended well by New York, clearing the area. Abong, who still has the game's only goal. Referee will say, play on. Obi Kopp down again. Attacking here is Sanchez. 1v1. Sanchez, good move, lets it go. And into the near post, just a little bit too much.
It's the second time this game in the past few minutes that we've seen Sanchez with space on that right-hand side. The audacity, the daring that he has to carry the ball into the 18. But we talked about it earlier. He can do things in spurts. Can he do it consistently? At the MLS level, you're not going to get that much space, but you're going to have to make sure when you get that opportunity, at least put it on frame.
Good opportunity for the Red Bulls 2 fans. Next home match is next Sunday, April 12th at 4 p.m. against the Wilmington Hammerheads. For tickets or more information, visit NewYorkRedBulls.com or call 1-844-22-RBNY2.
And Wilmington's one of those teams that the Red Bulls have a history of. They have consistently played with their reserve side over the past couple years. Always features a number of good players. Sometimes players getting loaned up from or down from DC United, from the Philadelphia Union. So Wilmington will be a good challenge next weekend for this team.
And also, it's a great chance to come to this arena and almost view it in a little bit different manner. You know, not as many people would turn out to a USL game, though a very good crowd on hand today on a holiday weekend than you would see at an MLS. And we should remind our fans and viewers there will be limited chances to see the USL games here because of the latest agreement with Columbia University.
It is an opportunity to see Red Bull Arena, what I still think is one of the crown jewels of MLS, open since 2010. And, you know, it's a place that when it's full and rocking, it'll give you goosebumps.
Ball played out, will be a throw on the near side for Toronto FC 2. No, a kick instead. Let's go back to the original thought. Sharpie will take the throw. 23rd minute. Coming up on the halfway point of this first half. New York with a 1-0 advantage. DeFonte will wisely play it out and let his defenders come back and remark. Sharpie with another throw.
Matt, we're starting to hear some chants coming from the South Ward. Will you be going down there and leading the supporters in some chants at halftime?
I'd be happy to if you can handle the broadcast for a little bit.
I thought I'd been doing that already.
I didn't bring the drums or anything like that today, though.
I've got them still in my car.
A bong. Good return pass from Davis. Heffron takes it out of the air. You're finding now about at the midpoint of this first half, each team has settled in. Good takeaway by Jay Chapman, the 21-year-old. The challenge, I think, from game to game for all these USL teams, especially the ones that have the normal affiliation with an MLS side, will be who's in the roster week to week. I mean, we talked about it in the Open, Christian. So many different players on the field here today for Red Bulls 2 than were in the scoreless draw against Rochester. You usually will take a little while, even though you could be at training sessions together and still be working on the same thing. Until you're on the field in a match, it takes a little bit to get used to one another.
And nothing substitutes for match play, and that's going to be the challenge then on April 12th against Wilmington. What do you do when you don't have all the players from this match trying to get bled back into the team? You're taking players out of position, you're putting some in new positions just because there are so many different moving puzzle pieces. It's not an easy job for John Walenek, but at the same time, these guys are going to learn how to play multiple positions. They're going to have different understanding of the game. You're going to have a central guy perhaps playing out wide. You're going to have a holding midfielder perhaps as an outside back. So they're going to be interchangeable pieces, but that can benefit the development in the long run.
26 minute of action. Follow at USL on Twitter to become a league insider. Join club conversations and have a chance at exclusive giveaways.
You a Twitter guy, Matt?
I am. I think in today's day and age, you almost have to be, don't you? How many people do you have conversations with in the media that don't have Twitter anymore?
None in 140 characters or less, I'll tell you that much.
Babali with the service across. Handled well. Good chance here for Toronto FC 2. Played back to Chapman. Pushing wide. Service in. Obakop will clear with a left-footed touch that goes from one side to the next. Davis now looking. Here comes New York on the counter.
He has numbers on the right-hand side if he acts.
Davis trying to go that way. Will use Lade, who will come back to the left for Heffron, who can't get the touch.
And this is a very important match, I think, for Connor Lade. This is his fourth year now with the Red Bulls. First season, he played some 20 games with the team, a number of them as a starter. His role was kind of simple. He was the energy guy. He was the the output input sort of guy. He left it all on the field. They kept it very simple for him. But injuries the next season and a half or so really slowed down his development. Where does Connor Lade play on the field? You could slot him in left back, left mid, right mid. Today he's in a holding midfield sort of role, akin to what Dax McCarty's asked to do with the first 11. It may be his best spot, so it's good to see him being able to get this opportunity to come out here, and with a busy fixture schedule for at the end of April, it'll be good for him to get this match in, make a case for the game day roster and the starting 11.
Rainish lining this one up off the hit from Hamilton. Rainish has had a couple of touches in this first half. That one played out, and it will be the fourth corner of the match coming for Red Bulls 2. Stoles has handled the prior 3 and will hit the 4th one here as well. 28th minute of action, New York on top 1-0.
A lot of space there near post at the 6-yard box.
4 into the box for New York. Abong had the opportunity for his second, but couldn't size it up enough. McLaws will chip back ahead from midfield. Obacop will give chase. It's deflected out by Sharpie. Similar roster rules for fans in the New York area, perhaps not all that in tune with USL action. Still an 18-man roster. Here's a chance. Again for Abong, deflected in the back by Fabrizi, and then Bono able to pick it up.
And what you like about Abong is how active he is. And in the forward system here, he's being asked to make a lot of runs. This one here, receiving the ball about 12 yards out, just turning. If it wasn't for a deflection, we might have been celebrating goal number 2 for Abong. But in this setup and what Jesse Marsch wants from his forwards, with the first team, it's Bradley Wright Phillips. But here it's going to be that high line of pressure, running at the goalkeeper, running at the center backs. And Abong is built more like a target forward, a possession type of guy. You can't ask him to do exactly what you ask Wright Phillips to do. Certainly not at the production level that Wright Phillips had last year. But you're asking him to be active, be that first line of defense, help that defensive shape, and create turnovers. And so far, the early returns have been good.
Good 1-2 touch to spring Abong. Touch back ahead by Sharpie for Toronto FC 2. Heffron gave it away to Chapman. Chapman holding possession, wanting to push Hamilton ahead, who waited at the top of the box, and Rainish will control.
And Heffron would probably like that touchback, but let's cut him a little bit of slack. Here was a guy named to the USL Team of the Week last week for his efforts against Rochester. He certainly has a bright future. Slotted in at left back both of these matches. Had to play center back a bit last game. So he's a player with a little bit of versatility. I think we've seen he reads the game fairly well. Decision making needs to improve.
And I think arguably that last match against Rochester started on the slow side for New York, but by the end of the match it seemed like they were starting to grasp the concepts a little bit more of John Wolyniec. Heffron will take the throw in the 31st minute. Stoles bends one in towards Bono. Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. Matt Harmon, Christian Dyer on NewYorkRedBulls.com for today's USL matchup. New York Red Bulls 2 taking on Toronto FC 2. Second of somewhat of a new venture for a lot of teams in the MLS with the locked-in affiliation with the USL. I think it really provides a good amount of more structure rather than just having the reserve team where maybe you would play, maybe you wouldn't, who's here, who's not. I think this has solved a lot of those issues.
And after the match last week, Jesse Marsch said that he noticed the intensity level of the USL match far exceeded that of the reserve system last year, which was kind of in and out. You didn't necessarily know who was going to be playing, if there was going to even be a bench in some of these setups, how many players were going to travel. Here you have established teams such as a Rochester last week, Wilmington next week, teams that have had a certain level of success in the USL, Rochester being one of the preeminent teams in lower division soccer in this country the past 15, 16 years. So being able to go up against teams with an establishment, with a professional mindset, rather than just kind of a bunch of players thrown together, that's only going to enhance the next generation of MLS players.
Babali with a low bending ball in, played out by Ouimet, who was whistled for the original foul. Toronto has had limited real good chances at Rainish, though the Red Bull 2 keeper has had a share of touches today.
But he hasn't really had to move on any of them. The 3 saves that he has were all directly at him, which is a sign of good positioning. But if you're Toronto, you want to begin to pepper him, have him move, go after rebounds, chase after things, create their own opportunities.
Stoles, good ball into space. Obacomp will get another corner. Well, and the offside flags was up on the far side. Obacomp is off, and it will be a free kick chance as we hit the 34th minute for Toronto FC 2. Fabrizi plays into space. No one with the run on. McLaws ahead to Lade in traffic. Off the giveaway, it is Chapman. Good back heel for Nunez. Return pass is deflected out by Ouimet. Nunez last to touch. Dangerous ball in the middle that Lade able to get a touch on. Ouimet clears. And at midfield, Manella takes over for Toronto FC 2. Good possession by Toronto in this sequence.
Good possession, but it's about 40, 50 yards away from goal. So the Red Bulls are doing a good job of containing that space, making Toronto, if they have the ball, not have any options. They're cutting down the diagonal passing lanes as well. Defensively, I think Connor Lade hasn't had the best of games with his first touch, but certainly the pesky work he's been able to do, reminiscent a bit of Richie Williams, who was a player who had some success here with the national team as well. But he's been able to kind of do that job with the dirty work, kind of pesky there in the center midfield, breaking up plays.
Sanchez is whistled for a foul, and a free kick will come for Toronto FC 2. All USL regular season and playoff games are available live, free, and in HD on YouTube. Connect with USL YouTube and their channel today. 36th minute, a whistle this time will restart things for New York. Howling wind outside the arena, but walk down field level before the match was actually fairly calm.
It has been a beautiful day and a beautiful afternoon for these guys to go out there.
Abong with another strike from just over the 20-yard mark.
Yeah,
to add to his second.
Abong hits this one well from about 25 yards out, moving forward with confidence, and just smokes it right here at the far post, just inches wide from his brace.
"37th minute of action. Numbers pushing ahead for Toronto FC. They've got space to the near side if they can get it there. Nunez had to hold his run, and Obacomp with a good job of coming back to get a deflection.
And that's a run that defensively Marius Obacomp probably doesn't make this time last year. He came in as a very raw player, as gifted as any as you'd see on the field. Certainly at first glance you would think he's a starting 11 caliber player because of his technique, because of what he's able to do with the ball at his feet. But it was always kind of figuring out what to do positionally on the field, where he should be in support in the final third, and defensively the kind of runs he should make in support. And that was evidence right there of Marius Obacomp growing in confidence, understanding what needs to be done, how he can read the game better.
Bouchard will knock it out of traffic. New York able to regain possession. Abong off the spin around as he came together with Manella will get whistled for the foul, the 38th minute. Abong's goal in the 8th minute, the only score so far this afternoon, 1-0. New York leads Toronto FC 2. Bono will come up and take care of this. Lade plays out to Heffron.
Good ball by Lade right there into space with good composure, kick-starting this counterattack.
Here comes Mick Laws pushing up from the right back spot. Chipped ahead. Sanchez was there. Obakop can't control the top of the box. Lade beats Manella. Davis knocks it ahead. Sanchez to space for McLaws. Good 1v1 move. Service across, and it's a goal! Sean McLaws giving the Red Bulls 2 a 2-0 advantage.
And that's a nice little bit of moxie right there from McLaws, an outside back in the final third, taking his player on one-on-one with the step over, moving in confidently, and then slotting the ball in. Seeing that Bono really didn't have a good angle that he was taking in terms of coming out there and just able to put that across the face of goal confidently. Kind of have to think that the goalkeeper needs to do better in that opportunity. But McLaws, who impressed during preseason training camp, earning himself a contract with the team, steps up nicely there in the final third.
4-year career at Coastal Carolina University down in Conway, South Carolina. The Oklahoma native has given New York a 2-0 advantage in the 40th minute. McLaws will control off on the far side. Boy, if you can get offensive production from your back four, that's just a bonus.
Yeah, well, we saw him move into the attack there. He found the space, and the way he's been pinching in defensively has also been impressive. But being able to move forward now, he's served several balls into the box, but being able to have that willingness, that vision, to see the angle, to see the defender backpedaling the way that he was, and to take that opportunity as well as he did. Certainly we see some of the reasons why Jesse Marsch was so positive on this kid.
Fans of the New York Red Bulls 2 next home match is next Sunday, April 12th at 4 p.m. against the Wilmington Hammerheads. For tickets and more information, visit NewYorkRedBulls.com or call 1-844-22-RBNY2. McLaws still about a half a smile on his face. Stoppage as Heffron is being worked on at midfield.
And while we've been talking so much about the New York Red Bulls and the way they've played, it has settled down for Toronto FC. They started off the match well, and then they went through about a 15-20 minute spell or so where they were constantly on their back heels. They were struggling to maintain possessions. But up until that goal, you kind of felt the momentum swinging a little bit back towards the away team. I thought Hamilton was making some good runs there in the final third. Nunez as well, pushing forward, being able to get some opportunities. But the ball at the feet of their attacking players has just been too few and far between for Toronto FC. The midfield's been non-existent. So much of their build-up is kind of been out of the back four. So you want to see them slow down the game a little bit and show a little bit more composure there in the final third if they're going to get back into this game. But they've clearly had some talent at the forward line. Where's Chris Manella? I want to know that. Where's Jay Chapman? We haven't called out his name very much. Those are the guys who need to kind of get settled in, get the ball, and start making some plays, getting the ball in to their forwards up top.
Heffron will check out. He'll be replaced by Dan Metzger, the Homedale, New Jersey native. Did not play in the first match, 4 years at the University of Maryland. All Big Ten selection on the Herman Trophy watch list. Has been part of the Red Bulls Academy since 2010.
And a member of the under-18 United States national team as well. He was one of the most sought-after players over the past year or two. Would he end up signing a homegrown contract with the Red Bulls? He ended up becoming a first-round pick of DC United in this past winter's MLS Super Draft. So the kid's clearly got some talent. This is the opportunity for him to slow the game down just a little bit and be able to get involved and get some minutes and continue his development.
Christian, you talked about the versatility as well for Connor Lade. We've got a tactical switch as well. Lade has taken over the left back spot for Heffron, and Metzger has moved into the midfield.
And it's a left back role that Lade has frequently played, and this can be the blessing and the curse of Connor Lade. He can play 4 or 5 different positions for you on the field, but can he lock down a starting 11 position? Is it at left back? Is it at holding mid? Is that outside mid? Can he get that so he can consistently be a part of the game day roster? That's going to be the question. But he's got the opportunity now to see if he can become the regular starting left back for this USL team and perhaps for the first team.
Babali with a chip towards the back post. Obakop couldn't clear. Metzger did. 44th minute of action. New York up 2-0. The goals for Abong and for Sean McLaws. Ouimet will go back to Rainish. Ball out, and perhaps a chance for one last build-up here for Toronto FC2.
And it's going to be interesting to see how the Red Bulls now build their attack out of the back four with Heffron out. Heffron was more content to be a stay-at-home kind of guy. Connor Lade's going to want to push it. He's going to want to run from 18 to 18, stretch things. He's got good speed, good read, good understanding of the game. So it may end up helping the Red Bulls attack. They may lose a little bit defensively in terms of Heffron being off the field, his ability to win balls in the air, his physical presence. But being able to have Connor Lade moving forward, I think will be a real benefit for this team in the second half.
Metzger will start this combination to clear the box. 2 minutes of stoppage time has been put up.
A little too cute back there from the Red Bulls. They need to get that ball out faster.
Sanchez waiting for the run. Here it comes from McLaws. He's already got a goal on the day. Tackled by Bouchard. We'll get a stoppage, and McLaws will get a quick talking to.
He just committed a little too early on that tackle, studs up. Good not to call the yellow card by the referee, but that was a foul.
In stoppage time in the first half. 2-0 New York. Chapman and Manella combo going back. Stoles off the giveaway. Abong trying to find him ahead. The combination didn't work, and Toronto FC2's counter attempt is snuffed out by Lade.
Very good read by Lade to understand the passing lane right there and to step in.
Abong will turn, have space. Pushes it off to his left. Obakop will keep on. Lade, a chance here in the box. It is Sanchez to just put it up over the top of the crossbar.
Well, he certainly doesn't lack for imagination, does he? Flicking it up to himself there and then hitting it well. But this ball getting served in from the left flank, and Sanchez makes a clever run there to be able to pick it up, flicks it up to himself, and then just takes an audacious touch right there.
That was even closer than perhaps it looked for Bono as it went up over the top. An entertaining first half, to say the least, for New York. They've got goals from Abong and for McLaws. Halftime here in Harrison, New Jersey. We step out. We'll come back a couple minutes prior to the start of half number 2. We'll have highlights and get you set for the start of the second half. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast. We're back right after this. And we welcome you back here from Harrison, New Jersey, Red Bull Arena. Good first half for the Red Bulls, too. They lead 2-0 over Toronto FC 2. Matt Harmon, Christian Dyer. Let's take a look at some of the match highlights. A good first opportunity for Antol Abong, who got this first Red Bull goal, Christian, and it was very pretty.
And coming off high pressure, a ball being served into the box, Abong perfectly times his run right there, but a well-delivered ball as well so that he doesn't have to break stride, taking it with the outside of the foot, building confidence for a player who could be a big part of the game day roster, probably moving forward.
And a great celebration as well. Abong had another good opportunity, this from about 25 yards out, continuing what was a good solid onslaught by New York during the course of it, and then they were able to strike again.
And McClaw is doing so well right there from the right back position, moving forward with confidence, finding space, realizing that he had the defender, backpedaling there, taking advantage of the situation. A savvy finish as well, knowing the goalkeeper was taking a bad angle as he came out.
Last good opportunity for New York came from Sanchez, who put one just over the top of the crossbar at the end of stoppage time in the first half. We are set here for half number 2 as John Wolodyk and his Red Bulls 2 team looking for their first win of the season. Early stats at the break. Alex Bono with a couple of goals allowed. New York with 8 total shots to 3 for Toronto FC. 4-2 the advantage for corners. And as the game wore on, I thought it was really New York who dictated the tempo and the style of play.
Yeah, Toronto was only able to have a couple minutes here or there of possession. But keep in mind, this is a Toronto team that is not nearly as savvy in terms of a starting 11 as New York. New York loaning down 9 players from their first team. This is a very tall task for Toronto. I thought they came out well. They moved the ball well. In spurts, they showed that they could play out of the counterattack effectively. But where's that quality ball going to be coming in to a Jordan Hamilton up top, to some of the other players that they have? Nunez is making some good runs as well. But this is a New York starting 11 that could probably do fairly well, bits and pieces of it in MLS. Certainly they have a lot of experience there. So it's quite a tall task for Toronto.
Stoles with a service across. It is headed out by Bouchard. Here's Obakop off a deflection. Obakop with the service, deflected. It's taken down and cleared out by Sharpie.
And that's where you want to see Marius Obakop in isolation on the left wing. Take that player on one-on-one. He's got numbers perhaps going into the box, but there was no one ready right there. Serving a ball like that was always going to be low percentage. Take it there towards the end line, earn a corner kick, or perhaps drive it low and hard across the 6-yard box.
Davis draws a whistle on Toronto FC 2. It will set up an interesting chance here for New York as we are in the 47th minute of action. New York with a 2-0 advantage on Toronto FC 2. Stoles will take it. Towards the back post, bending chance. Metzger chips back ahead, and Bono will take care of it inside the 6.
And Metzger still needs to settle into this game. Came in just a few minutes before halftime, kind of thrown in to a game that already had its rhythm, already had a flow. Needs to get a few quality touches now. That one got away from him, but he's a player who we saw at Duke, we saw with the under-18s, certainly has the quality to play that final ball in. He's someone who likes to feed the ball. He'll take some opportunities on his own. He's a savvy signing for this USL Pro team. I think he has a good future in MLS, but he needs to do some refining to his game. He needs to play faster, quicker, and his work rate needs to get up there.
Say so many times that the advantage perhaps for New York with the extra MLS players on loan, kind of a rare buy situation this weekend for the big club, as Toronto FC will get a chance here. And laid with what could be a booking. And it will.
And I think perhaps Connor Lade is fortunate there not to get away with, or to get away with just a yellow card. Understand the need for the tactical foul. He got turned around there on that ball over the top. He needed to make that foul, or else Toronto was going to be going in 1-on-1 on the box. But was that a clear-cut goal-scoring opportunity? Should that have been a red card? Probably not. I think it was a good call by the referee. But here, Lade had no choice but to commit the foul to be able to slow down the player.
Jordan Hamilton was taken down. Babali will set it up off to the left of Rainish, who had 2 saves in that first half. I'm sure Hamilton would argue that that was going to be a good scoring chance.
I'm sure Hamilton would argue that he already had scored the goal.
Toronto pushing several players off to the left. Babali with the chip ahead. Hamilton with a chance. Sliding out. Great save made by Rainish. Off the chance by Hamilton.
But that was a very good box ball into the box from Babali. He's a player, 26 goals with the senior academy team last year, serving it in. The ball ends up ping-ponging out here. Hamilton has one opportunity that's blocked, and then a second one that's well saved by Rainish. I think fans kind of wondered, why was Rainish in this game when you have Castano, kind of the young player from the academy, did so well in the first game last week, came up with a couple big saves. Why is Rainish in there? Those are the kind of saves he's going to need to make at the MLS level. It's a good opportunity for him to come in. It was a coach's decision that he needed to get some minutes to be able to get ready to be Luis Robles' backup.
McLaws will get booked here. As already a couple of yellows dished out in the second half on New York. 51st minute, the second yellow of the second half.
And the foul, a little bit reminiscent of Nunez, who had a first half yellow card there as well, cutting through, tackling through the player. Like I said in the first half with Nunez, I think you could perhaps make the argument that's a red card foul. But I understand the referee knows these are young players, wants them to be on the field, have the opportunity to get out there, to improve, to get those minutes. You don't want to send anyone booking, but that was a reckless challenge.
Rainish will punch it out of danger. Here's a strike. Manella right into the waiting arms and chest of Rainish.
It looks like an easy save for Rainish, but he was in the right position, popped up well after punching the ball out there. Good ability to read the game, understanding if that ball was going to come through a series of bodies, he was in the right spot and didn't have to move.
Oof. Here's a strike off a deflection. It's an own goal. Toronto FC 2 is on the board with a 2-1 lead now for New York.
And that was a botched clearance opportunity across the face of goal. Never something you want to see. The ball gets swerved in here, taken in. You have the opportunity to clear it out. If you're Connor Lade, you don't do it across the face of goal. You want to get it out towards the touchline. Uccello is there to pounce on it. Well taken opportunity.
It goes off of the foot of Ouimet. 2-1. And just like that, Toronto is back in the match.
And for a team that had difficulty with sustained possession in the first half, knocking the ball around in dangerous places, creating very few opportunities in the final third, that's what Toronto needed. Their best opportunity in the match. They take it. They're back in it. They have a little momentum. First few minutes of this second half, the Red Bulls backline was being pulled apart. A lot more space being conceded than they did in the first half. So Toronto seems to be regaining a little bit of the momentum right now.
Have you visited the new USLsoccer.com website? Check out the latest news and live stats, information on all the teams. Check out the new social media hub of the USL.
Getting one goal back, and all of a sudden Toronto looking a little bit more confident. They're spreading the ball around. They're finding space. They're running into space, and it's going to be a very interesting final 40 minutes or so to this match to see how they respond now, just one goal down.
Ball touched out by Lade. Wesley Sharpie, who had pushed up from his right back spot. '54th minute. 2-1 New York. Sanchez. A bong there as well. Toronto first to get to it, and Bono will restart things.
And Sean Davis there had the right idea to try to thread that ball in, but he didn't weight it properly. Little too soft on the touch. Could have been springing a bong into the final third with no one between him and the goal.
This game has certainly taken a change in pace and tempo in Toronto's favor. Still not quite 10 minutes in to our second half. Some players warming up, and one would think substitutions coming here in the second half.
And that was a good look there at Derek Etienne, who's a promising player, has come up through the academy setup here, member of the under-20 national team with Haiti. He had the opportunity to get some matches with the reserve team last year, match against Wilmington. I had the chance to see him in that one. He's a promising player. He's got good speed, covers a lot of space, moves well into the attack, can play, I believe, possibly along the back line as an outside back, or as a winger as well. He's going to be an interesting one to watch down the road as he continues to develop here with the Red Bulls.
Massimo Mirabelli, the 23-year-old from Ontario, fouled in that last play, will come and be checked out. Babali will take the strike about 30 yards from goal. Bending chance up over the top. And a goal kick coming.
Babelli's looked very dangerous now in the second half. We've seen a couple of opportunities he's created just about 8-9 minutes in. This one taken from about 25 yards out, bending away. Kyle Rainish could have been beaten there if it was on frame, but he's a player who's going to only grow with confidence over time. Scored 26 goals last year for Toronto's senior academy team, was the Ontario League One best 11 team as well. So he's someone who certainly has a good pedigree. Getting these kind of matches, being in this type of environment, going up against several MLS caliber players over a 90-minute stretch is only going to help his development.
Mirabelli back on. We remind you to become a fan of the USL on Facebook for exclusive league news and interactive content. Chance across will sail wide. Obakop with a good run forward. Abong was involved.
And that's where you want to see the understanding of Obi Kopp, where he is, time and place. He's inside the 18. He doesn't need to overhit this ball. A simple ball to the feet of Abong, who's making that run into the middle of the goal area, would have probably put the opportunity on net and perhaps given the Red Bulls a 3-1 lead. But this is all part of Obi Kopp, who he is. He's a raw player. He comes from Cameroon. He's an under-20 national team player there. Loads of talent. Can he start to put it all together now in his second year in MLS?
Good win by Raheem Edwards, who entered at the halfway mark. Throw coming for Toronto FC. You know, that shot of the bench players warming up, we talked about it just a little bit. It's still an 18-man roster per side, but perhaps the big difference between the USL and the MLS is 5 substitutions. So we could see a slew of other players during the course here of this second 45 minutes.
You could, or at the same time, with this being nearly all but 2 players coming up from the first team, do you want to give them an extended run so that they have match fitness and shape and an understanding and a sharpness going forward to what's going to be a busy April? Final week of April into May, the Red Bulls first team has 3 matches in a 7-day span. Does a Connor Lade get a call up? Does a Leo Stoles get called up to the game day roster? Does Sean Davis get called up? Obi Kopp, certainly. Anatole Abong as well. So you're looking at 4 or 5 players who, and Carl Lamet as well, 4 or 5, 6 players who potentially could be part of the game day roster, part of the starting 11 during that busy stretch. So do you want to run them out, make sure that they're fit for that, or do you want to start to bleed in some of the young players? It's going to be a little from column A and a little from column B for John Walenek.
Rainish clears. Mark Anthony Kay, number 44, also new player on for Toronto FC 2. McLaws, who has a goal already, pushes ahead to Abong. He's beaten by Bono, who will pull it back into the box. New York was arguing for a potential handball, and this one sails up over the top on the chance from Metzger.
And that's what you want to see from this high line of pressure. Abong loses the ball. Bono comes out, plays it well, doesn't handle it outside of the area. It was a clean stop by him, savvy stop, but then he loses his composure. Should have gotten that ball out quickly, just sent it out to the touchline. Instead, he plays around with it, sends it to the middle of the field. Metzger, savvy, understands open goals, sees a player running back, tries the chip just a couple inches off.
Hamilton takes it out of the air. Obakop with the win away. Numbers starting to join the rush here. Good tackle back from Hamilton, and then a whistle will come. And it will be Toronto on the restart.
And Hamilton with some good body positioning as well, understanding what Obakop was going to try to do, driving it there to the end line, taking the opportunity to get his body between the ball and win it and stop that counterattack.
Abong will challenge. And that has been a theme in this match so far. Here's a giveaway and a chance for Toronto FC looking for the equalizer. Babale will keep. Edwards. Now the counter back the other way. And out of bounds as Sanchez could not control. Make sure to follow the New York Red Bulls 2 on Twitter and Facebook at NYRB2. Join the conversation for this match on social media using the hashtag NYVTOR.
Can we become Facebook friends after this, Matt? Or?
Absolutely. You're +1 in the Twitter column follow before the match today also. I think you're up to like 1.2 million now.
Did we just become best friends?
We might have. A moment here at NewYorkRedBulls.com for the ages. Metzger for McLaws. Good return feed. Sanchez is on. Played in and then over the line.
Good awareness there by Sanchez to hold up his run to receive the ball so that he wouldn't stray offside. Understanding where the line was from Toronto and then being able to move into that little pocket.
Great ball played ahead. Hamilton is on. Chips it ahead past Rainish. Couldn't get the shot off. Rainish with the diving chance. And then cleared out of danger by Lade.
And we talked about Connor Lade a couple minutes ago with the giveaway that he would like to get back. This time, Lade's understanding of where he needed to be to snuff out that opportunity. It was a good individual play by Connor Lade, who I think has done more good things than not so far this game.
Stoles into the box, looking for the target, Abong. This game has developed into some more offensive flow and continued counterattacks for both sides. Toronto FC2 looking for their second. Here's a chance at goal for Lade. And a bouncing save made by Bono.
And what you like to see from Lade, who began this game in the middle part of the midfield, to be able to step up from his left back position, eye it from about 25, 30 yards out and send it in. What this does is just the opportunity from distance makes Toronto respect the long shot. This is going to free up balls into the final third because they're going to have to keep an eye on the Red Bulls midfield moving forward and being able to shoot from distance.
We've got a substitution for New York Red Bulls 2, Derek Etienne replacing Sanchez at the next opportunity. Etienne is up and waiting.
There was a good article this past week on BigAppleSoccer.com from Michael Lewis on Derek Etienne and kind of his development following in the family footsteps as a family with a strong soccer lineage. I encourage anyone who can to be able to check out the story on BigAppleSoccer.com. And Michael Lewis, one of the great writers of the sport in this country.
Uccello had it tackled away by DeFonte. Sanchez will use DeFonte. Uccello off the deflection. Good shoulder ahead for Hamilton, who will put it up over the top of Rainish. But Bally set that up.
And this is what's happening right now the past 10 minutes or so. Lackadaisical play for the Red Bulls out of the back line, leading to these opportunities. And Hamilton doing what the Red Bulls did so well in the first half, that high line of pressure, pressuring the back line, being there to take advantage of the opportunity. That's one that I'm sure Hamilton, who has shown well so far in this match, would like to have back. But Toronto continues that high line of pressure. The Red Bulls' back line is not as tidy as it was in the first half. They need to tighten things up, clean it up, and get the ball out of there. Doesn't always have to be pretty build up there, Matt, but they need to start playing more effectively, a little more cynical out of the back four.
So you saw the entrance of Etienne, who will go off on the right flank, and contact here off on the far side. That's Lade, who is down. And some immediate concern with Ouimet coming together with Mirabelli. And players will now have to be separated. Lade took a hard shot up near the head, I believe.
Yeah, that was one of those things where as soon as Connor Lade had the contact, he was immediately going down. You could tell by the way his body hit that there was some sort of a shot or a blow to the head.
So as Lade is being tended to, we remind you that the New York Red Bulls 2 next home match is Sunday, April 12th against the Wilmington Hammerheads at 4 p.m. For tickets and more information, visit NewYorkRedBulls.com or call 1-844-22-RBNY2. Matt Harmon, Christian Dyer calling this USL match the second of the season for New York Red Bulls 2 at NewYorkRedBulls.com.
And Lade just sitting up right here, still gripping his head, looks a little groggy perhaps. Certainly a shot to the head, and he went down onto that turf very hard.
Manny Aparicio has entered the game for Toronto FC2. Daniel Fabrizi has checked out.
And we may be seeing the debut here of Tyler Adams, recently signed, the first signing of the USL Pro team. Very promising outside back here, can truly play either back position. But Tyler Adams is one of those players to watch in the future. I was speaking with Ivis Gallersepp from Goal.com a couple weeks ago. He said that this kid is an absolute stud. And when Ivis says that, it's something you listen to.
Won't graduate high school until 2017.
I'll be getting my Social Security checks by that time.
First was recognized, talk about the development and how far things have come, first recognized at the RDS program for the Red Bulls organization, the U17 national team, and he will make his USL debut in place of Connor Lade, who will walk his way out.
I think you have to say, Matt, a productive 65, 66 minutes from Connor Lade. Certainly not the way he wanted to end it. And there were some difficulties there with Toronto's first goal. But Connor Lade, I thought, being plugged into the central midfield, which he hasn't had the opportunity to play a whole lot of the past couple years. He's been relegated to an outside back. Preseason this year, playing at right back, having to slot in about the 40th minute or so into the left back position. I think all things considered, there were many positives for Connor Lade, some good building blocks for him. He's coming off a loan with the New York Cosmos last year, where he had the opportunity to play a lot of minutes and get some good experience as well. So it was a good afternoon for Connor Lade. Now we just have to hope that health-wise he's okay.
Well, that was what I was going to say to you, Christian. You hope that it's not another injury issue. I think people forget in 2012 he was 5th in the Rookie of the Year voting at the MLS level.
Called up to the U.S. national team as well that following year. So he's a player who, if he can get healthy, if he can settle into a position, I think he has some good intangibles. He has good tactical awareness. It's all about putting it together.
There's that last offside marker on Abong as we hit the 69th minute of action. It's still New York 2 and Toronto FC 2-1.
And the initial take on Abong right now, I think, is we've seen some of what can make him to be a very good MLS player. He has the makings of someone. We've seen him get a couple matches, only a handful of minutes so far, but someone who could be a part of the game day roster moving forward when need be. If Bradley Wright Phillips isn't able to play, I think Abong could step in and perform that role very well. He certainly has the ability to run at defenders. Positioning sometimes is good, sometimes isn't good, but he's a young player. He's a raw player. He's a player who needs to continue to develop and grow, but early returns on Abong so far are good.
Quick restart. Aparicio matched up on Adams. And Rainish will pull it in. Saw a glimpse of perhaps things to come. Adams, we talked about his age, just 16 years old. Aparicio just 19 from Argentina.
And the cupboard certainly isn't bare when you look at what the under-16s did at the Generation Adidas Cup, beating Colombian side Independiente Medellin 2-1 today, winning that cup down in Frisco. Is this the best academy in MLS? I think you could probably make that argument, Matt, when you look at the players who have come up through that system. Connor Lade, who just went off the field, was one of the academy players. Juan Agudelo, who's gone up through the national team ranks and has done well in MLS, another academy guy. So you're looking at these players, you're looking at the fact that they're going off having successful collegiate careers. Some are playing in MLS. Dilly Duca, another one with Montreal, who's had those opportunities. So another step forward for the academy winning this tournament, and congratulations to those young people, many of whom were going up against 17-year-olds.
Great chance to build for the future. Follow at USL on Twitter to become a league insider, join club conversations, and have a chance at exclusive giveaways.
An awful lot of credit, I think, has to go to Bob Montgomery, who's heading up this academy system. But over the next few weeks and months, one of the unwritten things that the fans won't get a chance to see, but is going to be the trickle-down effect from the first team to this team. We talked earlier in the broadcast, Matt, about how this match was supposed to mirror what the first team wanted, with the high line of pressure, the build-up of possession out of the back four, holding the ball with confidence, how they were going to attack. It was going to be the mirror image of the first team. And part of what the Ali Curtis and Jesse Marsh are trying to do with this setup now is create a pyramid where the first team and the under-17 team and the under-15s and under-13s all play the same way. They all have the same understanding, so that when they move up through the ranks, they know what they need to do, these individual players, to contribute to the team and to overall team success. And you're going to see academy coaches are going to be visiting with the first team, watching practices. Different coaches will be there for a week at a time to get an understanding of what training looks like, what the players look like, so that they can prepare their players, whether it's at the under 10 or under 17 or under 23 level. If they get that first team call up, they'll know what to do.
Well, it sounds like from that explanation, Christian, it's an organization now. It's not separate teams all the way down the line. And I think rightfully so. You start with the top and dictate down from there.
It is, and it's what we've seen so many of the great club teams throughout Europe and South America do. They have an identity of who they want to be and how they want to be. When there's an Ajax player who comes in, to the Dutch Giants at age 9 or age 10, they're taught how to do the same things that the first team does. And certainly they're not able to do it at that same level, but the expectation is this is how you're going to grow, this is how you're going to play, this is how you're going to develop, and this is who you can become if you put in the work, if you develop it, if you're gifted with those physical abilities. So it's nice to see that the Red Bulls have that in place. I think it's a big part of what Ali Curtis, the sporting director here in his first year on the job, wants to do, and it's the right step, because if they can corral the talent in this tri-state area and begin to bleed them in from the academy level to the first team level, this could be a very good Red Bulls roster for a number of years to come.
Aparicio off the restart. Toronto FC 2 still trailing 2-1 to New York here in Harrison. There's certainly no lack of soccer talent in this surrounding area. So I would agree with you, Christian. If you can become the home for a lot of the local products. That's not always the finishing way to get it done, but it's certainly a good start. Etienne ahead. Abong is on. Trip down in the box. And this will be a PK.
Yep, a little bit of a tug right there from number 20, Chris Manella. Abong took the right angle, being able to cut in to the box, receiving the ball from Etienne. A nice curving ball. Manella wasn't able to get there, just kind of tripping him up there. A little bit of a tug. And Abong, having the right angle, was able to go in alone on goal.
Abong had the day's first. McLaws the second, and Abong may have just set up the third of the day. Obakop will take it.
Big moment here for Marius Obakop.
Obakop, left-footed strike, and it's 3-1.
Confidently taken PK right there from Obakop. We've talked about him so much throughout the first half, Matt. The space he was finding on the left flank, the defensive work that he was doing, tracking back, how he helped with the shape of the midfield. But this penalty kick goal right here looks like such a simple thing to do, but he powers and places that opportunity for his first goal in USL action and first goal here with the Red Bulls since being signed last year.
Started in that game against Rochester, gets his first goal of the season at the USL level. And Obakop, after that penalty was called for Abong, third different Red Bulls 2 player to score in this match. 3-1, the advantage back now, +2. Miscommunication in the back. Ouimet finally clears the area. '76th minute.
And it looks like we might be seeing Andrew Jean-Baptiste checking into the game in the next couple minutes. One of those players that the Red Bulls brought in this offseason as a possible center back, right back.
Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. Reynish setting things up. Dangerous chance here for Toronto FC 2, looking for their second goal of the day. That turned out to be a huge goal and momentum swing back to New York as Toronto had dictated tempo and pace in the second half. Babali, bending ball, Reynish will punch it out. It will be Andrew Jean-Baptiste who will check in at the next chance. Michael DeFonte will exit.
And a well-taken free kick here, but Reynish doing well, I think, positionally to be able just to parry that one away. He was in the right spot. Sometimes, and we saw it this morning in the Arsenal-Liverpool game, there's a tendency for the goalkeeper to overcompensate to one side, but he stood his ground, let the wall do its work, and he was in the right spot to push it away.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation for Reynish, who we've talked about a couple of times during the broadcast today. He needs his playing time, but at 31 years old, he's really the veteran of this roster here today.
He is, and he's a player who, is just a season and a half removed or so from playing in the NASL, went on to the Chicago Fire, and he's a good goalkeeper, but goalkeepers at any age are going to need those minutes, those reps, if you will, to get out there on the field and be able to get the saves, organize the defense.
Trouble in the box, cleared out finally for New York. Sharpie pushes ahead for Toronto. There's the flag raised. 78th minute of action. Here comes the substitution as Jean-Baptiste will come in. Started 8 games a season ago for Chivas USA. Former number 8 overall selection in the 2012 draft by Portland.
And the player he's replacing in Defonte is one of those interesting kind of backstories for New York, too. Went off after college and played in the lower divisions in Portugal, third, fourth division, and kind of got a good experience. Now comes here to the USL side with perhaps a more interesting pedigree than some of the other players who came out straight from college soccer. But that was a good growing experience for him, and he's someone who, if he's able to get some more matches and some more minutes, do we eventually see him being someone who can make that jump to the first team?
Free kick chance for New York as we work towards the 80th minute. The Red Bulls, too, in a spot here, Christian, where they could take their time a bit. A hasty giveaway there as Hamilton stepped in to grab for Toronto. Etienne will play back through Stoles. Abong, who started it all for New York today. Metzger pushes wide for McLaws. Ahead for Abong. Has Etienne running through the center, and we'll get a corner set up here for New York.
And after about 20 minutes or so of the second half, the Red Bulls were having a difficult time. They were on their heels. Toronto was knocking the ball around with confidence. Over the past few minutes, we've seen, and actually since the foul on Connor Lade, where he was taken off the field, seems like that galvanized the Red Bulls a little bit, put a little bit of a spark into them. They have a little bit more balance in the midfield. Most importantly, Matt, they're winning the second balls, sustaining possession, and they're getting back into those pockets again defensively.
Stoles with the corner. Pushed across. Metzger could have taken a touch towards goal. Instead, will slow the pace. Stoles into space for Metzger. Quick service chance. In for Abong. The youngster Tyler Adams getting a touch at left back. Obakop. Davis working the one-two combo. Jean-Baptiste will grab. All USL regular season and playoff games are available live, free, and in HD on YouTube. Connect with the USL YouTube channel today.
A nice ball springing there, Etienne from McLaws. McLaws, who I think has had a very good game, his understanding, his vision of the game. I know he had that yellow card that was a little bit on the dicier side, but I think just his ability to pinch in and then in the attack be able to move forward and overlap effectively has been a real asset to this team.
Abong almost got his second off of this latest chance. Put it up over the top of the crossbar.
And it's an opportunity that develops very quickly. Etienne swinging the ball in here. Abong with the first touch and then just gets under it just a little bit. Want to get your knee over the ball. His body's being positioned a little bit away as he's striking it. Doesn't get it fully.
Marcus Godinho, number 36, has entered for Toronto FC 2. Mark Anthony Kaye has checked in. Babuli will exit. Late stages of this match. 83rd minute. And a whistle will get a restart for Toronto FC 2.
And Mark Anthony Kaye is one of those interesting players on Toronto. Made some appearances, about a half dozen or so, for Wilmington in the USL last year. He's someone who I think has a lot of good physical attributes. Needs to bring some savvy to his game for two for the money, Mark Anthony Kaye.
Etienne. Good touch to control. Into space for Abong. Mick Laws knocks back to Jean-Baptiste. Good turn by Obakop. Adams and Obakop. Obakop with speed. Punched into the middle of the box. Missed chance on the clearance by Aparicio, but then Toronto with a second chance to remove themselves from danger. Jay Chapman with it at midfield. From here, Toronto, in their next couple of matches, will have Vancouver, Pittsburgh, and Rochester to deal with.
I think you have to give an awful lot of credit to Toronto, the way they came back in the second half, starting off so strong for about 20, 25 minutes or so. And there's a lot of awful young players on this Toronto team, certainly lacking the first team experience that a lot of the Red Bulls players do. And being able to go up against a player like an Anatoly Abong and Leo Stoles, who was the Herman Award winner last year, is the best player in college soccer. I think it says something for the young talent that this Canadian team has on their roster, and the future of Toronto FC with the academy setup that they have is certainly a bright future.
Next time out for the New York Red Bulls to home against Wilmington. Here's Stoles with a chance, and it's in for a goal.
And it's a well-deserved goal there from Leo Stoles. We were just talking about him, the resume that he has as a Herman Award winner, but he's been a man among boys throughout this match. The way he's controlled and dictated the midfield, sitting there right above the holding midfielders all game long, creatively playing. The run that he makes here, though, is a savvy run, being able to get the ball at the top of the 6-yard box, running in between the center backs, and then having the ability to coolly finish it. A bang there, taking the run, drawing a couple defenders with him, but Stoles being able to slot that far post like he did. Jesse Marsh said that in his mind, Leo Stoles was someone who was going to be playing himself onto the first team and the starting 11 over the next few weeks and next few months. He just needed some time to develop. He needed some matches, and we've seen today how he can marshal the midfield from an advanced position, but how he still tracks back and is able to help with that defensive shape when they go into almost a 4-5-1 when they don't have the ball.
Great career at UCLA. 2-year captain, Herman Award winner, native of Munich, Germany. 4th goal of the match here for the Red Bulls 2.
Good read there by McLaws to break things up.
Etienne holds possession just over midfield. Space and numbers on the far side. Obakop. Now Adams. Stoles. '87th minute. McLaws will get knocked down about 25 yards from goal to set up a free kick chance.
And the Red Bulls still now just a couple minutes away from the end of the match are knocking the ball around with confidence, switching fields. I thought the hold-up play there by Etienne along the right flank when he had the ball, he was able to contain possession, turn the ball around, and then send it to the middle of the field, just kind of being able to keep that sustained run of play. That's what you want to see from a young player, the vision, the awareness, the understanding of where he needs to go with the ball and where his teammates are going to be.
Obakop will sail this one up over the top. And as we are in the late stages of this match, New York on the verge of their first ever USL victory. Victor Manasalves will check in. Marius Obakop will be the player coming off for New York.
And Manasalvis is one of those players. He was the under-18 player of the year for the Red Bulls in the academy setup. Someone who plays with the ball quickly at his feet, likes to run into space. And another one of those names to kind of watch down the future. Where does he develop and how does he grow?
Manasalvis will head over to the left flank. There's another win by McLaws. Etienne through the legs. Couldn't beat the second player after a nice win around Bouchard.
Certainly not lacking for confidence.
I think up at 4-1, New York has demonstrated how different they could be with some of those players coming down on loan.
It certainly is a case where the confidence they're bringing from the first team, and I had the opportunity to watch the first and the second team kind of go at each other on Thursday, and Jesse Marsh was saying that he wanted to see more from the second team. Well, they took those lessons from how the first team was able to move the ball around, that starting 11 going up against the next 11, if you will, and they kind of were able to get some confidence from that, and going up against the Sasha Kleshtin in practice, Dax McCarty, who's one time captained the United States national team, those kind of players being able to get in those situations, getting the confidence that, hey, I can compete at this level, has translated to this match.
3 minutes of stoppage time. Etienne with a chance that rickles off of the crossbar and the post right near the corner where the two come together.
Well, Etienne certainly is getting himself into good spaces right here, realizing from a bong where he's going to have to play the ball, settles back there near the edge of the 18, left-footed at the near post, almost was his first goal with the USL side.
We are in stoppage time, and the match in hand for New York as the Red Bulls 2 lead Toronto FC 2 4-1.
I think we're hearing the photocopier in the background as Ali Curtis is getting ready the contract for Etienne. It's certainly been a productive second half cameo for the young player. Get that contract ready.
It's taking advantage of opportunities when presented. Manasalvis off on the far side, comboing with Adams to control. Mark Anthony Kaye took it away in midfield for Toronto FC 2. Stoles will knock it ahead. Numbers here for New York. Abang looking for his second. Couldn't keep possession. Manasalvis will draw a whistle along with Abang. Tackled well by Metzger.
And Metzger's really settled in. He had a couple poor touches in the first half when he came in just a few minutes before halftime, and then kind of took a few more minutes after halftime to get settled in. But since then, defensively, he's pinched in well. I think his tactical awareness has shown, and his distribution has cleaned up.
Shouldn't be much time left at this stage as Edwards will play out. A very productive afternoon in the USL side. Jean-Baptiste coming together with Hamilton.
And it certainly is a feel-good weekend when you look at what the under-16s did in an under-17 tournament, beating a top Colombian team known for their young talent. This match, certainly a 4-1 result against a Toronto FC team. When you're looking up and down the roster, has under-17 national team players for Canada, has players like Manella who have been capped by Canada. Jordan Hamilton has a bright future as well. So it certainly is one of those building block kind of afternoons where you can see where the future points for the Red Bulls. Now it's about them taking those players to the next level. For the under-16s, do they translate to the academies? How do they translate to the next step in the academy? Do they become USL players? Do they become first-team players? And these guys, do they ingratiate themselves into the starting 11 in the game day roster? At what point this season do they become contributors?
Chipped ahead into space for Toronto FC 2. Last chance for Edwards. Referee looking at his watch. Originally set for 3 minutes of stoppage times. It is in his hand now. And that will do it. Our final score of today's USL matchup, the New York Red Bulls 2-4 and Toronto FC 2-1. Take a peek at our highlights from today. It was a strong offensive game today, Christian, for New York, all the way through from start to finish.
It was, and it all started with pressure. The pressure you want to see from the first team translating down to the USL side. Davis winning the ball, then sending in a beautiful ball to Abong, who perfectly timed his run with the outside of his foot, pokes it in, getting things started the right way for the Red Bulls.
It continued all the way through. After that first goal, New York was able to add a second one off a great run ahead.
And the confidence that Abong was feeling throughout the game, we saw with his distribution, but also his ability to shoot for distance, opening things up throughout the field. McLaws here with a great opportunity, such confidence, such a little bit of a charisma on the field, taking the opportunity well, knowing the space, seeing it, understanding it, reading his defender as only a defender can.
Kyle Reynish, who got the start here today for New York, didn't have to do a ton during the course after the teams went into the break, but he was called on every once in a while, especially early on in the second half.
Yeah, you have to be impressed with what Reynish did. His first competitive action since preseason, coming up with a big save right here on Hamilton. Hamilton was very active in the box throughout the match, but it was just his ability to understand and read things. Fortunately, he couldn't do anything here. A poor clearance inside the area from Connor Lade, and then a ball that takes a deflection. But more good than bad from Kyle Reynish in this match.
This set up the third goal of the afternoon for New York, as Abong was tripped in the box, and Obakop able to slot this one in for his first goal of the USL season. And at that point, New York really feeling comfortable.
You don't take a penalty kick much better than this. This was power, this was precision. There was no way a goalkeeper could stop this one. Building block moment for Marius Obakop.
We talk about for Reynish, he was able to get perhaps some good confidence in some minutes here today on what was Toronto's last real chance, a punch out of the box from just inside the 6, and then the last goal of the day for New York.
Etienne there serving the ball in to Leo Stoles. Stoles understanding where he needed to be, knowing that he had the time to be able to take a touch and then move himself in, and then the kind of finish to be able to slot it in back post. I thought Stoles had a very good day. Even if he didn't appear in the goal-scoring summary, he still put in the kind of effort that you wanted to see from a central midfielder, controlling things box to box. 4
different goals today for the New York Red Bulls, too, and a reminder that they can continue this momentum next Sunday, their next home match, Sunday, April 12th at 4 p.m. against the Wilmington Hammerheads. For more tickets and information, visit NewYorkRedBulls.com or call 1-844-22-RBNY2. Thanks so much for watching here in our broadcast. For Christian Dyer, I'm Matt Harmon. The final score, one more time, the New York Red Bulls 2-4 and Toronto FC 2-1.